We want you to be a part of our studio audience. If you're in the Toronto area, contact us.
Before the break, we asked our studio audience this question. Do concerns of nuclear weapons trump concerns about human rights in Iran? And here's how they voted. 60% said yes. What a difficult question to ask. And for you, our TV viewers, send your answers to the addresses on the screen. Well, we are back looking at the price of political protest. Marina Namat was 16 when her death sentence was commuted to life in prison in Iran. That story is told in Prisoner of Tehran and is an international bestseller. But it took escape to Canada for those horrific prison memories to surface. Every day when Marina Namat would leave her job at a Toronto Swiss chalet, she would write for an hour about her traumatic time in Iran. Please welcome Marina Namat.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Tell us what it was like growing up in Iran.
I think it was probably very comparable to the life of a young person here in Canada. I grew up going to wonderful school. Girls could become whatever they wanted. They could become lawyers. They could become judges. They could even become the prime minister. And the road was clear for me to go to school and to become whatever I wanted. I wanted to become a medical doctor. My dad was a ballroom dancing instructor in Tehran, and my mom was a hairdresser. So I grew up between the sounds of the cha-cha and the tango and women with really big poofy hair. And I grew up listening to the Bee Gees, and I watched the Donny and Marie Osmond show and The Little House on the Prairie. I read C.S. Lewis and Ernest Hemingway, and we owned a cottage by the Caspian, where I would be wearing little bikinis on the beach. Boys and girls would be together. They would be dancing and singing. It was a very safe environment, and for me, the road was just clear.
You, as a teenager, begin to witness a revolution happening. The people are in the streets, calling. You speak out in high school about what you see going on. Tell us about what you were protesting yourself.
Well, the revolution succeeded in 1979, and I literally watched it from my window as it happened. Of course, I was 13 when the revolution succeeded, and my family was not political at all, so we were never on the street. And the slogans on the street that we were hearing, they were talking about an Islamic Republic. We were a Christian minority, so we weren't quite sure how we would fit in, but we gave it the benefit of the doubt. And then the revolution succeeded, and it didn't deliver the freedom and democracy that it had promised the people. So when I saw that happening in school, dancing, they declared dancing illegal, singing illegal, holding your boyfriend's hand in public illegal, Donny Osmond became illegal, wearing pink became illegal. So when you announce to young people, to teenagers, that having fun is illegal, what do you think they're going to do? They're going to be out there and protest.
Tell us what you said to your high school teacher.
I said to my new calculus teacher, now before the revolution, we had great teachers. They were just wonderful. You know, we had our maths and sciences and English and everything. And then after the revolution, they replaced them with fanatic young women who were not qualified to teach at all. And they were there to implement the Iranian cultural revolution. And instead of maths and sciences, now it was propaganda 8 hours a day. Now you put a 14-year-old in propaganda classes 8 hours a day. What do you think you're going to get? Somebody who's very frustrated. So I raised my hand to the calculus teacher, who was not teaching calculus, by the way, and I said, can you please teach calculus? She said, you don't like what I teach? Leave. And I was standing up, 40 pairs of eyes were on me, all of my friends, and I thought, you know what, I was a teenager being challenged. So I said, okay, fine. I walked out. And when I got in the hallway, I heard this noise behind me, and probably around 32 of my friends had walked out with me.
It wasn't immediate, but that kind of independent thinking and speaking out had you sentenced to Evin prison. Tell us about the sentencing process.
Well, beginning in 1981, hundreds and thousands of teenagers were being arrested. This was the way for the new government to set the tone that if you speak up, you will go. So I was just one of the thousands of teenagers who was being arrested, and I was taken to Evin prison. And at the time you arrived at Evin prison, they would blindfold you, then they would take you in and they would torture you. It wasn't...
You were tortured.
Everybody Everybody was tortured.
What happened to you, Marina?
Well, they interrogated me first, and they didn't like what they heard. And I answered every question truthfully because I was 16 years old and I really had nothing to hide. They asked me, have you protested? I said yes, because it wasn't some state secret of some sort. Everybody knew I was protesting. So then they took me to another room and they took off my blindfold. I was in a room with two men, Ali and Hamid. And they handcuffed me, and they realized my hands are going to slide out of the cuffs because I was like 95 pounds maybe. And then they laughed, and they put both of my wrists into one cuff. And as it clicked, I literally heard my right wrist crack. So it hadn't even started yet, and I screamed my head off. And at that point, if the devil had appeared and had said to me, sell me your soul and I'm going to get you home, I would have said, you have it. I want to go home, because I wanted my mother. I wanted to go home and not be with these two strange men who could do whatever they wanted to me. Then they tied me up to the bare wooden bed. I was lying down on my stomach. They took off my shoes and my socks, and they lashed the soles of my feet.
It's an incredible story that you've written in Prisoner of Tehran, but remarkably, your interrogator, the prison guard Ali, who's there, forces you into a Sharia marriage within months. You're a 16-year-old now undergoing rape. Mm-hmm. How does that happen?
Evin is a place beyond the rule of law. Iran is a place beyond the rule of law.
Still as well,
Oh,
isn't it?
absolutely. Right now, as we speak, Evin has about 6,000 prisoners. It is the same. Iran, all the laws of Iran are based on Sharia law. But Evin is even beyond that. Anything can happen. Interrogators have extreme powers. They can do whatever they want to the prisoners. You could die under torture and nobody's going to ask a question. You could be raped. Of course, there's a Sharia judge who would allow it. The Sharia judge would say a few words and it's okay. It's okay for a 16-year-old girl to be married off to
her prison guards.
Anybody, basically, in the prison. And all it takes is a Sharia judge, and all he needs to do is just say a few words, and it is legal now.
Marina, you are about to pay an incredible price for speaking out. We're going to continue this story, but first it's time to find out what you think. Would you risk your personal safety to defend democracy? Yes or no? Send us your answers by phone, email, Facebook, or Twitter. We'd like to know what you think. Our studio audience is taking a live vote, and I'll have those results when we come back.